Lowe's helps refresh your garden in time for Mother's Day. Right now, get 5 bags of 1.5 cubic foot Scott's Naturescapes mulch for just $10. Plus, select 1.5 gallon annuals hanging baskets make the perfect gift. Now 2 for only $15. The best garden starts with great deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase.
Back so soon? Oh no, what happened?
A little incident at the dog park. We gotta head to the vet.
Oh, not again. These bills.
We can use CashNet USA. We can apply in minutes, get a fast decision, and have the money in the account as soon as the same business day. All right, Cheddar, back in the car.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See CashNetUSA.com for more details.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a ULM fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeau and Chase Region.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Thibs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, exciting times on the Bayou.
Always.
We're closer to having a president.
Yeah.
We're closer to lifting the big hardware from Commissioner Keith Gill in softball.
Whoa. I love the confidence.
I mean, so they're at least headed to Troy for the Sun Belt Conference tournament. That's already a given. I think the lowest they can finish is maybe a 4th or 5th seed.
Okay.
Can finish as high as being regular season champ and the number 1 seed going into the tournament. Could still wind up with a 2 and a split title with Texas State. It all just depends. They have a 1-game lead over the number 14 ranked Texas State Bobcats in the mid-major poll. You got to win 2 and you get the big trophy. You win 1, cool. You get half a trophy. Isn't that how?
And we're at home.
And we're at home, undefeated.
I don't believe in half trophies. No consolation prizes.
Number 19 ULM, Thursday, Friday,
Very
Saturday.
Cool. Come on.
And you still won't watch it.
No shot. I'll watch it, but I will keep up with it on Twitter after the game, and I'm excited for the porch they got back there now. A little student section. Very cool.
What's this Twitter you speak of?
Oh, I'm sorry. This X X. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Yep. A little football news as well.
Mm-hmm.
Got a home and home with the old. We're getting the Sun Belt band back together.
Yeah.
A home and home with FAU down in Boca Raton. It'll come to the Malone House of Pain. Trademark Chase Region.
Hell yeah. No, Brian Vincent said to Chase Region, though. Yes.
They'll come to Malone in 26, and we will head back to the Howard Snellenberger Memorial Stadium in 27.
Yeah, I bet we are way more excited as ULM fans to go to Boca Raton than they are to come to Monroe. But love the old Sun Belt opponents. They were trash when they were Sun Belt and trash when they went to Conference USA, right?
Yeah, still are.
Yep. Yeah, and what a terrible move that was for them and UNT and FIU, and hate that for them.
It's still weird to me that in the FAU series, the road team is undefeated.
Really?
Yes.
I hate those stats because they rarely change with the ULM Warhawks, a.k.a. Arkansas State.
No, that's just anywhere.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, but one of the best Sun Belt backs I ever saw was actually at FAU, and Alfred Morris. That dude he ran with style. He ran with grace.
Didn't T.Y. Hilton go to FAU?
FIU.
Oh, same. The Ghost.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's where Josh Allen had the ball swatted while we were running victory. It was a fumble. They ran a go route to TY to take it to overtime, and somehow we won. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Deep cuts, love it.
Yeah, I was in shock. But another thing that recently happened was the NFL draft.
Yeah.
One player from the Sun Belt, and no, he was not from ULM. It was Mike Green from Marshall.
Yeah.
He's a beast. Second round draftee.
Yeah.
Headed to Baltimore.
Good for him.
We're able to get a undrafted free agent signing there in Carlin Biggers, headed to the Washington football team, whether they're the Commanders, Redskins, or whatever else they want to rebrand themselves as.
Okay.
And then we have a guy heading north of the border, Sam Carson, offensive lineman, second round draftee, headed to the Red Blacks.
Ottawa.
And the guy that is the liaison that helps it all happen, getting Biggers into the Hula Bowl, getting these guys drafted, dealing with the NFL scouts, Derek Cronenwett joins us to talk about his duties.
No shot, that's how you say it, Thibs.
How do you say it then, Derek?
No, it is Derek Cronenwett.
Cronenwett.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean, I did because you got his name.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah,
when you have a name like Chase, it doesn't mean you're used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Derek.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thibs and Chase, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor, it's a pleasure, and I'm excited.
Come on.
So we kick it always off with why ULM. What brought you down to the Bayou, and give us your first impressions there when you step foot on the campus.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just kind of start with my background. So I'm from Kansas City, born and raised in a suburb on the Kansas side, Overland Park, Kansas. Went to Kansas State for college, and I was a student assistant coach over there with the football team. I was helping out with special teams and moved over to defensive tackles. And then I graduated in May of 2023. After I graduated, I was looking for spots to head to. And one of the guys that I was a student assistant with up at Kansas State was moved down to Monroe as a defensive GA, Cade Coster. And he kind of helped me get on with personnel and operations side of things. I knew I wanted to move over to being in the front office and roster management and on that kind of whole side of things. And there was a spot open, and he kind of helped me get on down here. And when I first got down here, I think my first impression was I got down here in August of 2023, right when fall camp was starting. And I think it was over 100 degrees the first 15 days I was down here, and with that humidity, and I'm like, oh man, where did I drag myself down to?
Where's Kansas City?
Yeah.
Cold front weather.
Exactly. But no, I mean, it's been a fun experience down here. I've learned a ton. And it's just been fun learning by trial by fire down here. So
what made you want to be a student assistant coach? I know sometimes that's kind of a tough job, right? Especially, in the Division I level, you kind of get the shit end of the stick sometimes, as they say. What made you want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially even, I wasn't paid at all. It was just all for the love of the, all for the love of the game, and just want to learn and get that experience. But I always knew I wanted to work in football. And that was just an opportunity to get my foot in the door. And I always really knew that I wanted to do like scouting and evaluation, but I just never knew how to get into it because I didn't know anybody in college. I didn't know anybody in NFL or anything like that. And any opportunity that I could get my foot in the door, I just took it.
Love that, dude. Love that energy you bring to Monroe too, bro.
You got
you don't need to do it for free. You don't need to.
You don't have it for free. I know you got to be professional, Derek, and you always are. Every time we have interactions. But how giddy were you that first time that you had an NFL scout or even an NFL GM call you, going, "Hey, what can you tell me about this guy or that guy?"
If I didn't tell you I was nervous, I'd be lying. But as it's gone on, I've gotten more and more used to it. But when you're growing up as a kid watching NFL games, it seems so far away from you. And then when you start interacting with some of these guys, it just kind of feels like a fever dream a little bit. But yeah, I was definitely feeling giddy the first time.
Very cool. Did you grow up a Chiefs fan?
I can probably say that it's been harder to keep track of them ever since I've started working in football. Even at Kansas State, because we work on Sundays. We'll work all day on Sundays, getting stuff done. But so it's been harder to keep track of them. But yeah, I did grow up a Chiefs fan, going to games every year. So.
Well, I know that you handle, liaisons, the NFL and other leagues and stuff like that. But as we both know, if you're at ULM, you're wearing a lot of hats. What other kind of stuff do you do there in the building?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, what we were saying is the liaison stuff, and then as director of player personnel, help manage all the recruiting boards. So just managing all the recruiting evaluations as they go from the coaches as they're on the road, all the way up through the pipeline to the head coach and Coach Vincent, and watching guys with him, and keeping track of all the players and on that side, and then also the visits, organizing stuff for the official visits that we have, and the game day visits when people come on games, and then also helping out on operation side of things on the internal stuff. I'm the travel advance guy, so for the road games, I'll go a couple days early and make sure that the hotel's all good, food and stadium's all good and things like that. Yeah, and it's basically me and you guys had Coach Mods on here a few weeks ago. It's me and him, and we're running around doing everything we can to glue the pieces together around here. So
Are you saying that you're in the early stages of getting the mods cut? You're not quite to ripping the hair out.
Not quite. Hopefully I got a few years before that, but
Let's hope. Come on, Thibs. The kid's got some lettuce, don't wish that upon him.
No,
I mean, Mods is good. I'm not saying Mods is an ugly dude. I'm not saying he's a great looking guy, but friend of the pod, love to have him back.
We would definitely. So, Derek, first time through the league, what was kind of your initial take on it? Obviously learning a new college there with ULM, a new league in the Sun Belt, to you, a new coach there, and Coach Vincent. What were the big takeaways that you had this inaugural season?
So I'd say like this just coming from the Big 12. I was always a Big 12 guy. Growing up, I grew up born and raised a Kansas State fan. Coming down the Sun Belt, it was really impressed me from the jump when I came down here, and I didn't know like a lot of the differences between Conference USA, Sun Belt, Mountain West, American. I have a general idea, but I really feel like the Sun Belt doesn't get the respect that it deserves, especially with how deep it is, from top to bottom. Like, it seems like even just being here a couple years, the movement from the teams that go up and down is incredible, especially when you have the different coaching changes of different coaches moving up to P4 and leaving, and the movement, and I just really feel like it was something that I underestimated how deep and how competitive the league is. It's a phenomenal league, and it deserves more recognition.
Do you have a favorite Sunbelt stadium you got to go to last year?
I'm trying to think. Last year, I think,
or even one you're looking forward to for here in 25.
I would say the one that stands out to me the most was Texas State in 2023, just with the environment that they had. It was a sellout game, and it was a night game. And they announced it was
they had the lights going.
Yep, they had the lights going. It was they announced it was like the 5th biggest crowd of all time there, and that was a really cool one.
Super Bowl. You remember that, Derek?
Yep.
What was that? DJ Kinney said it was his Super Bowl. What a sorry.
For their bowl eligibility.
I don't give a shit. It was we weren't a super competitive team. and then some shenanigans happened on the fields, and then, you know what?
It wasn't on the field,
but
it was
he
on
got
the
to go.
sideline.
Yeah, you're right. But if you got to go a few days early, Derek, you got to see the beautiful city of San Marcos, Texas. Very, very beautiful, underrated spot there.
Yeah, I actually wasn't the advanced guy at that time, so I didn't get to see
Oh, damn.
the city for
Never
that one.
mind.
But we were down, but we stayed in Austin last year as
Yeah.
well. So we stayed in Austin 2 years in a row now. So it's always fun to get over there. But yeah, I was also going to point out another stadium that I love is I actually love the South Alabama Stadium because I've been down there
Oh,
twice now. Because I went to the Senior Bowl this year as well, and I think they've done a great job with the new stadium that they've put down there. Because I never went to the old Lad People Stadium, but
you're lucky for that. Yeah, Lad
yeah,
People
that's
suck.
why
But the newer people
he doesn't
with
have
the
like a
half
third
indoor,
arm.
Yeah, half indoor, and then like the fraternity houses right there and stuff. It was a cool
yeah.
spot. South
Oh
Alabama
yeah,
sucks too. But
yeah.
so you haven't gone to? Let's see, where do we go this year, Derek?
Coastal.
That'd be cool.
We'll
You haven't
go
gone
to
to App
Coastal.
State?
Yeah. I've not been to App State. The ones
I'm gonna.
The teams on the other side that I've been to are we went to Marshall this past year, and
Yeah,
then
Shithole.
Georgia
Awful
Southern in 20.
Statesboro is very beautiful.
Yeah.
But Marshall is an awful place. I will say, Derek, hopefully you're in this league long enough to go to App State. Very beautiful Thibs. I'm going to answer the questions you asked our guest, and that is App State and the Rock, and very, very beautiful stadium, very beautiful town, and I love Statesboro too. San Marcos. Again, Marshall can suck ass because it sucks ass. What about you, Thibs? What's your favorite conference away game?
Let's see. I like going to Arkansas State. It's pretty good.
No,
but I think that's because of the shenanigans we always get into in Memphis.
Yeah.
Troy's good. Kind of, a homecoming for me, though.
Why do you name two shitty places after I give you this question?
Hey, I'm just letting you know.
Troy sucks.
Love Texas State. Love some San Marcos.
San Marcos is cool.
As several of my friends have said, I wish I would have known about Southwest Texas State before I went to A&M and failed out there. Because I would have failed out of Southwest Texas.
Yeah, their graduation rate is like the worst in Texas. Huge school, but they don't graduate a lot of students.
Not at all. So, like those places, I had a great time in Marshall. I thought it was fantastic, but that's because I'm a diehard college football fan, unlike you, Chase.
No, I watched the movie, and the movie glorified what that shithole is, and I hope we don't play Marshall for a while because I don't want things thrown at me. But the We Are was cool.
Are you done? I just want to make sure you have it all out of your system.
I feel better now.
Good.
I feel better now.
Okay. So you talked about going to South Alabama there, Derek. It seems like the G5, it's hard pressed for the G5 to get guys in the Senior Bowl. What's kind of the feedback you get of what a guy needs to be able to get to one of these premier all-star games?
It depends on the player. I think a lot of it is it's just kind of depends what the NFL guys are looking at. Some guys are looked at for measurables and projections and potential, and then some guys you're looking at production and the kind of production they've had in their seasons and the all conference teams they've made. I think it's kind of just depends on certain guys' situations, but it's really they have. Especially like the Senior Bowl and the East West Shrine, they've got their own scouting departments, and they're always out searching for guys. And they take they'll talk with the NFL teams and take recommendations from them as well. But it's usually a combination of factors for those things. But yeah, I'd say with the new state of college football, it's unfortunate that it's getting a smaller and smaller pool from the smaller schools. But just the world that we live in now.
Chase, last ULM player to play in the Senior Bowl.
Josh Allen as center.
Not a true story.
It was a.
He was not. He was not
Josh.
there. Right
Great
around
guy.
that time, though, 2011, Darius Prelow. It's one of the guys that laid the foundation for you, Chase.
Josh Allen was that guy. John O. Fisher was that guy. Joseph Treadwell was that guy. Derek, I want to know when I had the pleasure of, I can't say an NFL scout ever talked to me personally, but I got to look at him, and we had some guys off that team. Trey Caldwell was drafted. Lindsey Pipkins ends up playing. Ben Banagoo ends up playing in the NFL. So we had some guys, none of them that ended their career except for Trey at ULM. My point is, or my question is, you hear some stories about how like in depth these scouts get. In your experience, are they allowed to talk to other players? They mainly use you as a contact. Like, what all are they looking for when they come into a place like ULM and try to figure out what talent we have and assess that talent that we have?
Yes, they are incredibly detail oriented. You can tell they're very well prepared for what they're coming in to look for, and they're coming in and getting every detail possible they can get. So they'll come in and sit down with me and get their background info about their upbringing, their livelihoods, and their playing history. And all that, and then they'll meet with position coach and talk to the position coach about how they learn, how they are as teammates in the room, leadership qualities, things like that. Then they'll meet with the strength coach and ask about how he works in the weight room, how he interacts with the people on that side of things. Then they'll talk to the trainer, ask about any injury history, any concerns about things like that. And then sometimes they'll talk to the coordinator, sometimes they'll talk to Coach Vincent as well. And like you'll see even some scouts, like they'll pick up on they'll even ask an equipment manager, oh, how does this guy treat you? Just to because sometimes the players they'll put on a face for other people, so they really want to know how the people are, and they'll dig into that with things with like the trainer as well. They're asking how do they treat your student athletic trainers? How do they treat you? They're really digging into who these guys are as people. So there's definitely no stone unturned with all these players.
Dang, dude. It's a crazy thing to break HIPAA and ask an athletic trainer about his injuries. But I completely get, the whole idea of getting to understand the person. I think we had some players on our team that were, really great players, and then they really wanted to know, at some points they would come asking, if it was D lineman, they'd come asking a line coach, like, how is he? Does he do all the drills hard? All that kind of stuff. I've always thought of scouts as like weirdos.
I would say that's a inaccurate stereotype. Honestly, I think having having good social skills is a very important piece of their job. Honestly, just because of all the different people that they have to interact with and all the different details and conversations and all the different information that they have to get out of people. I think honestly, in my short career and talking with these guys, I think that they're honestly some of the most social people. Socially people that I've worked with. So
the countdown's on for the 25 season, Derek. What's your early take after the spring game that Chase didn't attend? What can we expect the Warhawks to do this year?
You did it on Thursday night, Derek. What do you want from me? I live in Texas.
I do too.
Oh man, I'm excited for I'm really excited for the season. I think we got a great group of guys coming back. I think especially watching the spring and just seeing how much this team came back from that were returning from last season, and how well they all play together, and how much of a real family environment they have around here, and how they've blended together has been really exciting to see. And I'm not, if you'll get to learn from me, I'm not a predictive type. I'm always a one game at a time guy. That's how I've always been. Don't look too far ahead. Just take everything one game at a time. So I'm really excited for the season, but it all really starts with St. Francis, that first game.
Dang it, Thibs. Martin got to him first.
I think so.
PR'd it. He PR'd it, dude.
So we have another great thing that we got to talk about there, Derek. We know Monroe's got the great food. What's your go-to place and your go-to meal?
Ooh, in Monroe, I think it's got to be J Papa's. Now that we've had some recruiting dinners there, J Papa's is phenomenal, and I always like getting a steak over there. You know, I'm a Midwest boy, so I love my steaks, and they cook up a pretty good one over there.
Never been.
First feature on the podcast. Never been myself. We have to.
But I forgot you're a Kansas City guy there. The Royals are taking over, Chase, all of Monroe between Mike Hammett, Radosevich, and now Derek. I mean, they're all over the place.
Beautiful stadium. Drove by it this weekend, Derek. Beautiful, dude. On the side of the highway. Like, opens up the highway. Very cool.
Underrated. Unfortunately, they might be moving here in a few years. But yeah, it's an underrated stadium, and the Royals are. It's exciting. They're on the come up. They've started a little slow this season, but we made the playoffs for the first year last year in about 7 years. So it's getting better around there.
Oklahoma Joes are Jack Stacks.
Oh, dude.
Between those two, it's Oklahoma Joe's, which they rebranded to Kansas City Joe's now. It's now Kansas City Joe's. But
Jack Stacks, and it's from a Texas guy, Derek. Jack Stacks, crazy good, dude.
I don't know.
It's phenomenal too. That's a tough one. I will say that is a tough one. But I'm a Kansas City Joe's guy on that one.
Z-Man for lunch, Jack Stacks, burn-ins for dinner.
Oh,
that's a great combo. I like that idea. That's a great combo.
All the time. It was good stuff. So, Derek, I know you also get to hit the road a lot of times. Give us a good tell from the road, something great that's happened, something funny happened, something that maybe was even tragic.
I'd say a fun one was last year when so the other guy that I advanced with for this last season was Clay Templeton. He was the assistant strength coach with us last season. And when we went up to Marshall, there's no easy way to get up there. So so we actually had to fly into Lexington, Kentucky. And I had never been up to Lexington. And you fly into Lexington, and there's all these. Well, we're going to Marshall, and Marshall, like West Virginia, it's got the old the old kind of like gray, like not vibrant. Like that's the kind of reputation that they have over there. Old Smoky Hills, and we fly over into Lexington. It's got all these horse pastures, and you're like, well, this isn't the Marshall that we're looking at. But we made a trip out of that, so we fly in there, and we're like, so they got all the bourbon trail around there, so we went downtown there and had a good lunch at. I'm trying to remember the name of the place, but we had a good lunch there, and then we still had to drive a couple hours over from Lexington and through. It's a really beautiful drive up through the hills from up through the mountains from Lexington to Morgantown. But I think that was the most just eventful destination of having to get there for an away trip that we had this past season, and then and then once we get there, and the next day, when the team's flying in, the funny thing about there is, you two were there for that that airport. That airport is just a short landing strip. It's like the shortest landing strip in America.
On the side of a mountain. Yeah.
On the side of a mountain. You're just
It's
like
terrifying.
driving through the mountains, and yeah, yeah, it is terrifying, but so yeah, I think that trip just in itself is just it was an interesting experience. But
yeah, when we got delayed for an hour before we couldn't leave.
Yes,
And then once we
add
are
that to the
about
story
to
too.
arrive, once we
Yeah,
arrived, we
we
have to
get there.
circle for another 30 minutes.
Yep, and then and then we're leaving that trip after we play the game, and the plane needed maintenance, and they had to like fly a guy in from another from another city to work on the plane and get the plane fixed.
Just to restart a generator
that's-
or something stupid.
Yeah, something crazy like that. So yeah, I'd say that
Derek
trip
on
was
that thing. Told him to do it.
so yeah, I'd say that trip was the craziest, most wild one, especially for this past year.
Oh, and it was so heartbreaking, dude. Could have won that
Oh,
game
man.
3 different times. And then they go on to win the Sun Belt. Yeah, you know what? I'll say it. I'll say it, Derek. You don't have to. It was a terrible place that I hope I never have to go back to. The Italian food sucked. The town smelled
You go to
bad.
West Virginia and expect Italian food to be fantastic.
Yeah, because I what else? What are they known for? Is it West Virginia? Is it Ohio? I don't know. I wasn't going to eat chili the night before I have to be on air, and then it was just we ate some terrible biscuits. I mean, it was just Derek, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do this with you present, but it was just I've had better times and I'm sorry, Thibs. I've gone off the rails too much tonight. I'll chill out. You be professional again.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. Keep it going. Let it all out, Chase.
No, it's all out. I know that's the second time I've said that. It's all out. But Derek just gave me some bad flashbacks of and I hope we get to go to some, look at the schedule. I know we get to go to some cool places this year.
Coastal.
You tip?
I'll be
Bama?
there.
Chicago?
Don't know.
If you have a few more flights this year.
Yeah, which is not, I don't know about you, Derek, whether you like them still or not, but
there's a lot more. There's a lot more to them when you have those flight trips. The people
when you have to plane it, yeah, I'm sure.
You don't when you're just a fan of college football or NFL or whatever sport you're watching, you don't realize how much goes into the behind the scenes of these travel trips, especially for a football team for 75 guys that were traveling and all the coaches and trainers and everybody. It's there's a lot that goes into that.
And some weirdos like Thibs and I, yep. And I already complained to Mods, but I'll complain to you too, Derek. If Corey Crow gets an exit row seat and I don't this year, I'm gonna flip it. I know I'm just a sideline radio guy, but I'm gonna be mad about it.
Hey, I was on the outside of the exit row.
What do you mean? You were on the exit row?
Yeah.
Bullshit, Derek. Bullshit. And my fat ass is sitting right behind him, staring at Corey's, just looking at me like thumbs up, like, yeah, man, it's an easy flight, isn't it? Corey Crow.
Chase, that makes up for the 10, 15 years of traveling where I always requested to sit back by the cheerleaders because they were small, and so it made my big self fit better in the seats.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got an exit row seat, Chase.
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about that. I sat row 3 with either Splice, great guy, miss him so much, hope he's doing well, I was able to see him last year, or Harley Ciano. Both of them, though, like 6'4", 6'5". Now, to be fair, it's only 2 players to a row, which is nice. But, yeah, I've never had leg room on a ULM plane flight. And it's just, it's just due. It's just time.
It was just me and Corey. You could have sat in the middle seat.
Shut the
Chase. It was so much fun. Yeah. We should do it again next week.
Yes, sir. Derek, thanks so much for joining us, man. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Thibs and Chase, man. It was a lot of fun. This is the first podcast I've been on, and I was excited. It was a lot of fun.
You killed it, dude. Natural. You should join us on radio.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.